Well, so Muppet Lady went on TV today. Like she had, that's the Secretary of Debt. Formerly on the dollar bill, it says Secretary of the Treasury, but the U.S. has no treasurer, all right? So it's just Secretary of Debt. And then, I mean, like, look at this chick. Literally a Muppet Lady, and you should hear her talk. Like, it's even worse. Like, she struggles, you know what I mean? But, like, when you're that old and you're, like, hitting that much Xanax before your meeting, it is what it is, you know? Like, you just gotta roll with it. So she goes out there today and basically says, if we don't raise the debt ceiling, like, the entire thing's gonna fall apart. Essentially, like, full mask off, like, yep, this is what's gonna happen. Now, they will raise the debt ceiling. It doesn't take the Republicans to agree to it. And because they know that, the Republicans are just like, why would we put our names on this? You know, like, we need to run and, like, you know, tell the American people that we're, like, not like the other side. and so we need them to kind of believe us. So why don't we just sit back here so that way we can say we didn't raise the debt ceiling, it wasn't us. And so anyway, they're all like posturing and doing their thing. But I think that this is hilarious because at the very end of an empire, only at the end of an empire could things be this ridiculous. And what I mean by that is, why would you buy a government bond? Like, it's like a 10-year bond today is paying like 1.35% interest. And the inflation, according to their numbers, which are total BS, but according to their numbers, is like 5%. So basically, loan me $100 and I guarantee you next year it'll be worth $95. And for your troubles, I'll pay you $1.35. Like, I think I'll just keep my $100 and like try to find something that's going to either one, inflate with it, like stocks. Like, that's why people are dumping their money. But at the end of the day, stocks will deflate unless they have like they're backed by real assets, you know, like, or like physical metals, or like, what's the new government bond? It's Bitcoin. Like, that's just what it is. Like they'll say this 10 years from now in finance school, but I genuinely think, like, okay, what's the number one cryptocurrency in the world? It's a universal currency. I can flow that currency into any nation in the world within 3 minutes of notice. So it's, you know, self-custodied. It's like literally in my possession, and I can move it around anywhere. There's only 21 million of them. I can sell fractions of them. And because there's only 21 million of them, if people want to yield, what are they going to keep on buying? They're going to keep on buying that. And so why would I buy a government bond for a negative percentage of my interest, like minus like my real rate, like, you know, which is what I receive in interest minus the inflation. So if the inflation is, you know, working away my profit, I'm getting a negative yield. So why don't I just get something that pays zero yield but increases with inflation?
I trust the Fed to make the right decisions. You know, we have been hit by an incredibly unusual shock. And in the one hand,
AKA gold if I want to play it super safe, or Bitcoin. And I say Bitcoin because it's fully public. So it's a system that you can work with. It's taxable. It's trackable. It's a good counter argument to, like, I need safe money. I'm a mutual fund, and I'm an insurance company, and I take in millions of dollars a month, and my, you know, prospectus states that 40% of my capital needs to be in bond-like instruments. Why wouldn't I just pitch my investors or my board on putting it into Bitcoin? Why not? Like, the return has been fabulous over the last 10 years. There hasn't been a 36-month period where you've been negative. Why don't you treat it as an investment vehicle? Oh, well, it's still early days for that. Great. There's probably a crash to come. I'm sure, like, when this whole stock market bubble comes down, all the cryptos will as well. And then that'll probably be the last major crash for a while for all these things until they're, like, well into the millions, I would assume. I mean, Bitcoin's like one of those assets where, like, it's funny now, but it's like, it's clearly a $500,000 product. Like, it's at least. Right? There's still 10x, 11x for the thing to run. And that's like, it might even dump 90% from here. But it's still going to end at the same spot when these large financial institutions realize, oh, should we keep our money in like government bonds? Like, and just play along with this like clown show of like the Secretary of Debt coming out there and going like, well, if we don't raise the debt ceiling, then the whole thing comes apart. It's like, yeah, I don't want to have anything to do with that. Also, the U.S. is probably on the brink of a civil war. So why would I want to own essentially risk-free debt, which is clearly not risk-free because you might not even pay the interest on the debt you're saying next month. Now, we all know this isn't true. They do this all the time. I mean, even Ronald Reagan raised the debt ceiling 13 times in his presidency. So all these people are the same. Republicans, the Democrats, the entire thing needs to be abolished. The entire federal level. And it will. It will. Like, when this whole thing comes down, the states are going to break into pieces and they're going to become separate nations and states will gang up and hopefully it'll be peaceful. But there'll be a point where like Florida, Texas, Alabama, maybe Georgia, like are going to sit there and go like, hey, Louisiana, like that whole Gulf Coast is going to be like, do we need the Washington, D.C. thing? Like, they're kind of far away. Like, they're like 1,200 miles away. And like, what are they doing for us? Like, do we need them? Right. And then like you've got like California and like, Oregon, and that whole thing over there. And you're like, I got an idea. For the sanity of all Americans, why don't we just cut a little line down there and just say California and Oregon, like, you guys go do your thing. Like, just do your thing. Like, whatever you guys want to do out there, like, just, land of the fruits and the nuts, do your thing, man. Like, more power to you. But like, there's just no point. Like, Wyoming and Montana and like, parts of Michigan and like that whole corridor, like, do you really need an entity that's 900 plus miles, 1,500, 1,800 miles or more away to tell you how and when and what to do? Like, I don't think so. So like, why would you take the risk as a large company, like a Mass Mutual or someone like this, of buying government bonds at this point in time? It's insane. But the real sad thing about it is like firefighter pensions, teacher pensions, like any type of union that you can think of, police, just regular private entities, index funds, mutual funds, things like this have this garbage in there. And it's gonna go to freaking zero at some point in time. It's gonna be like, yeah, we can pay you, but the dollar's not gonna be valued at much. Like, yeah, maybe for a while, maybe for a period of 10 years, we might be able to force people to use our crap currency. But like, eventually people are just gonna trade whatever they want to trade. Like, like they're gonna go back to whatever they gotta trade. Whether it's seashells or cigarettes or gold or silver or crypto or favors or barterability or the gifting situation like at Burning Man, like if they go to like a gifting economy, like there's a point where it's like the tax rates are so insanely high, the inflation is so insanely high, like it doesn't make sense at any level. Like at any single level does it make sense. And these people, these Muppets, are just out there like jawboning the market, like they can just play with this wildfire and just act like it's not gonna have any consequences. Like this isn't gonna end in like absolute terrible things. Like New York emergency rooms closing down because they can't staff them with their new vax mandates. Like, dude, these people are insane. And like, I just hope that you guys are preparing for it, because this isn't gonna be '08. Like, this isn't going to be like, oh, my neighbor lost his house and, my father-in-law had a bankruptcy. And like, no, that's child's play. Like, who cares? That's some accounting problems. Oh, so-and-so was out of work for 9 months. So-and-so got divorced. It's 08. It's nothing. It's nothing. This is '08 packaged in dog crap, pumped up, kicked down the road where they threw some gasoline on it. And like Janet Yellen's over there playing with a match. And you're like, oh, I don't know. We could just not raise the debt. Like, this is going to be so epic at a biblical level. Like, this is going to be huge. Like, the entire global economy very well could break down from and that's probably by design. Like, you have to be looking at this right now and being like, yo, how wrong was Alex Jones really? Like, look, what part was the lie? Where was the lie? like you have to give the guy credibility at this point in time to be like, every platform kicked him off like 10 years ago because he hasn't been wrong yet. Or these people are just clinically insane and have no idea that like these things can end really, really bad. Like, civil wars basically happened in this nation on this very soil twice before. Like, we've done this twice before here. 3 times if you count the War of 1812. So, this happens. So anyway, guys, hope you're doing well. Hope you're preparing for this. Gold and silver link below. It supports the channel. If you don't have any, grab some. Get smaller denomination stuff that's barterable. I don't think that the future necessarily may be going back to a gold, silver, and copper standard. Although if we did, we wouldn't have the wealth gap that we have, and we wouldn't be able to have the uncontrolled spending and the massive government surveillance state that we have. Like, the world would be pretty amazing. Like, the guy that worked at the gas station in 1954 not only could like have his wife stay at home with 3 kids, take a vacation, but he could also have a Cadillac and an airplane, because adjusted for his take-home pay, adjusted for gold, the guy was making about $106,000 a year all the way up until 1964. Those are fun facts. Gold and silver hold their purchasing power. Cryptos are a speculation, but also, like, how are we going to conduct trade? If the net and all these things are still up after this whole event, like, and I want to trade something with you, it's so easy for me to be like, hey, here's my address, man. Send me X amount of Dogecoin, or send me X amount of BTC, or send me Monero, or send me whatever, and we can do transactions and I can ship you goods. And so I just think that that's probably a pretty damn good speculation, because this sucker is coming down. I mean, we got 70-year-old baby boomers high on Xannies running this thing. And like you couldn't write a more, like, the beginning chapter of a more epic book. But this is like, '08 was nothing. We'll be fortunate if we can avoid most of the pain of the 1930s. But we'll find out. Peace.